Well, Trump's immigration enforcement people must be seeing ghosts or hunting Bigfoot or mapping El Dorado because they're hot on the trail of something that under 6 months ago was just urban legend. It didn't exist. No, there are not Venezuelan gangs taking over apartment buildings in Aurora. That's just a figment of the imagination of a wacky city councilwoman. That's what Colorado Governor Jared Polis told the New York Post in August. Never mind that viral video of the gang patrolling around the apartment building with a rifle and handguns and what sure looks a lot like a Colorado illegal high-capacity magazine that police don't much care about for some reason. That was just a friendly neighborhood gun show where I'm sure universal background checks were properly administered because there's no loopholes allowed in that state either. I was personally discredited by USA Today for discussing this story. They said I was pushing the largely disproven claim of Venezuelan gangs taking over Colorado apartments. Good thing they covered themselves with that largely disproven qualifier, though, because that does mean at least a small part proven, doesn't it? And that's been the way the story has developed ever since. The proven part keeps getting bigger and bigger, because then the goalposts started shifting. Next, it was okay, sure, there are some Venezuelan gang members beating people up and extorting them for money as though they own the place. But come on, it's no different than all the other gangs to whom you're accustomed. So said the Denver mayor.
It's very small, the threat from TDA in Denver. It's smaller than many other organized criminal networks that might have been here for decades, the ones you know, like the Bloods or the Crips or others.
So please, don't exaggerate, because after all, they haven't taken over every apartment building in Aurora, only a handful of them.
The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs.
That exchange was in October, and since there's been another handful of major arrests related to the gang. Last month, Aurora police arrested 9 Tren de Aragua members, the gang in question, on kidnapping, assault, robbery, burglary, extortion, and other charges, because they weren't just collecting fraudulent rent payments from residents. They were terrorizing residents to get it. They captured people, tortured them, pistol whipped them, beat them, or brutalized them otherwise. So no, Martha, it wasn't just a handful. It was a fistful of many punches to the face while you're tied up as a hostage, and that's if you're lucky, and the fist doesn't have a gun in it instead. Just last week, one of the guys in that viral video of the patrol with the only assault weapon that Colorado gun grabbers don't care about, this guy with the support Glock was arrested by ICE in New York City, because that crew didn't just threaten or even just beat people. They went into an apartment and killed a guy 10 minutes after that video was captured. In that New York arrest, investigators also recovered dozens of guns and fancy Venezuelan pink cocaine that the gang has been selling across the country. They were selling the guns illegally in broad daylight, often in a shopping center parking lot. The common sense New York gun control could not be reached for comment. But wow, exotic coke and a handgun, all in one convenient stop. It was Hunter Biden's 7-Eleven, except this guy's actually going to prison for it. And I guess it's not actually even cocaine. It's some evolving cocktail of ketamine, ecstasy, meth, opioids, bath salts, and other stuff that would probably make even Hunter say, whoa, okay, slow down. Let's not get too crazy here. I want my hookers alive. As part of the ongoing effort to clean up the Aurora gang takeover that never was, until it obviously was, ICE, the DEA, and other federal agencies moved into Colorado this week, planning to target 100-plus known remaining members of Tren de Aragua and other associated dangerous foreign criminals. But the operation fell far short of its target. Authorities did capture several migrants, including some chased onto the rooftop of one of the famous handful of apartment buildings. Police were seen loading those arrested into vehicles and onto a bus, but ultimately, only 30 arrests were made, and only one was a confirmed Tren de Aragua member. The arrest count was underwhelming because it looks like those in the area knew the feds were coming. Police went door to door, but found the buildings mostly empty. Outside, activists and residents were waving foreign flags, set up and ready to protest and heckle upon police arrival.
While activists yelled outside, agents recovered this stolen rifle from inside the man's home.
Get the out of our neighborhood! Get out! Get out of our community!
Yeah, well, in fairness, that's what everyone is saying to you too, and so far you haven't obliged either. Border czar Tom Homan says the operation underperformed because the plan was leaked by someone in the media, as in someone knew it was coming and tipped off the whole town ahead of time.
If they're shouting and helping these people get away with bullhorns, how is that legal?
You're exactly right. When they come to they cross the line of impediment, and that's why I'm working very close, starting this morning with Department of Justice, and where do they cross that line of impediment? So they may find themselves in a pair of handcuffs very soon. This is not a game. When we show up these sites, this is a dangerous job for the men and women of ICE and Border Patrol and all the DOJ agencies. To have that type of interference puts our officers at great risk. We're addressing that immediately today. I'm addressing OPSEC today, operational security, how these leaks are happening. We've already identified how this operation got leaked. I'll deal with that today.
And the Border Patrol chief said the same. Someone in the media leaked our plans.
Talk about the leaks that have been going out from the media.
It's just irresponsible. The fact is, we're going after known criminals. We are targeting criminals, and leaking and letting them know we're coming is creating more of a danger for not just our officers and agents, but for the very communities that we're trying to enforce and make safe and secure.
But neither guy specified who leaked what reporter, what news outlet, what information. Unexplained. Fox News reporter Bill Malugin was doing a ride-along on this operation, a practice Homan now says they may suspend. Local reporters were also covering the story. Of course, I'm not saying that the leak claim is a lie. I'm saying it could have happened in multiple ways, or word could have spread through town another way. One local reporter says clearly marked federal law enforcement personnel were seen setting up staging areas with big police vehicles hours ahead of time. He says locally it was obvious what was going on. It was in plain public view, with the presence clearly visible before the raids happened. This reporter also notes that cleaning up Aurora was a Trump campaign promise generally, so even if Tren de Aragua members or other illegal immigrants didn't necessarily know that Wednesday was the day, any person with any foresight knew that day was coming soon, especially after the recent raids in other cities. And to that effect, does it even really matter? Or does it matter all that much? Yes, these are serious criminals. Yes, arresting as many as possible, as soon as possible, is and should be the goal. I'm just saying, is a low arrest count in this particular instance actually a failure if these criminals fleeing is still the effect? Because the grip this gang had on these apartment buildings is now broken, and these gang members are running and hiding instead of kidnapping people and beating them with near impunity. In other words, just the credible threat of arrest was enough to deter much of this gang's activity, or at least stop their worst abuses. Even if they weren't arrested today, just the realistic prospect that they might be made them disappear. What does that tell us about the confidence they had for the months and years prior that nobody was coming to get them, when their terrorizing was just excused as everyday gang activity to which we're all accustomed? Just please don't contribute to the real risk of being mean to Venezuelans.
But I think the much bigger risk is that you'll have a perception that all of the newcomers in the city are dangerous, and nothing could be farther from the truth.
What is that risk then?
What is the risk?
What is that risk if people get that misperception?
Yeah, I think you see that video over and over again and you feel like, oh my gosh, every newcomer to the city must be a part of Tren de Aragua and I should report them or call 911 or call 311 or, heaven forbid, take law into my own hands. That is not needed in any way.
But the real risk, of course, was ever listening to a word that the Denver mayor said. He may be missing the face tattoos and the street cred, but he assisted the terrorizing of his community just as much as any actual gang leader did. Oh, don't take the law into your own hands, says the guy who left the law in no hands other than those brutalizing his neighbors. Remember, everyone, your hands belong properly tied behind a chair while they beat your face in for not paying their rent fraud on time. Though I guess that philosophy is mostly on brand when you think about it. Become helpless and pay us everything you have is practically his party's entire platform. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel. Always appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below, and especially over on X, that is at ML Christiansen. You're always welcome to coming out and chatting my live streams live on Wednesday and Sunday nights. Looking forward to it. Come on.